My name is Frank PENNEL.
I'm Katie TARDIFF.
I'm BLANCK.
And this
is
my story.
My story.
My story.
I was raised Catholic in Ohio. Growing up, my parents took us to church every Sunday. When I got older, I only went to church maybe Christmas and Easter at the most. So I really didn't have God in my life at that point.
So I grew up in a big family. We all went to church pretty regularly. But like most families, we had a great deal of heartache going on in our family, but it seemed that I grew up a lot faster than maybe most people. It started, my parents got divorced when we were young, and so that really put a rift between us and the church. Not by our choice, but that was unfortunate. And I don't remember a time when all of my siblings, there were 6 of us, really lived in the same house after that. We shifted from moms to dads, and both parents got remarried, and then we had other kids enter the family, and so it was just a circus.
My early years of life, I really thought I had it figured out. I mean, I lived life like I had the answers, and that was kind of born from growing up in a hard place and having a lot of emotional things flung at me. So just to be okay, I had these defense shields in front of me, because the version of love that I was shown was not the model of Christ. And so in order to protect myself, as a kid, I realized this now, I developed this way of being able to accept certain forms of love and rejecting others.
Moving forward at age 31, I started getting in a terrible rut, starting to feel very discouraged about marriage. All my friends were married, all my cousins were getting married. So I decided I needed to leave Ohio, start fresh, thinking that would fix everything. So found a job and moved to Virginia. Looking back now, this is where I see that God was definitely working in my life, even though I was not seeking Him at that point. Less than a year after moving here, I met my wonderful wife, Amanda. In fact, my turning point came on a road trip back to Ohio. I asked Amanda a question about God, and when she started answering, she got so excited, so emotional, her voice even cracked at one point. At that moment, I thought, wow, I want God in my life like that. So the rest of the trip, I just kept thinking, if God loved me enough to bring me to Virginia to be with Amanda, I need to trust God more in my life.
Fast forward many years, I find a husband, I get married, everything is great. We decide to move to the DC area. Then a few years after that, we decided we wanted to have children. And then we get the good news that I'm pregnant. And so we're so excited. This is great. I can't believe it. It's finally happening. Everything looks textbook. The doctors are pleased, but then next thing you know, I'm miscarrying. So a few weeks after that, or a few months actually, we decide we're going to go to specialists and get like more intensive help. Long story short, we are pregnant again with in vitro, and we're so excited again, but then on Easter Sunday I miscarry. We regroup, and then another round, and I'm pregnant again. And this time I'm thinking, this is not going to work. No prayers. During that time, though, I guess a little bit earlier at work, I met this woman who, as a teacher, came over to my school and was in a meeting with me. The way she talked, she knew a lot about speech therapy, which is what I am by trade. I'm a speech pathologist. And so I asked her, I thought, are you a speech therapist too? And she said, yes, I am. And I said, well, what job do you have? Because mine was just hectic and too many kids and just crazy. And she told me, I'm a preschool special ed teacher, and I also do speech therapy. Her name was Leslie. And the moment I met her in that meeting, and you know, even it's been 6 years maybe later, I still felt that she was meant to come in my life for a reason, and she did. And little did I know how she was going to affect my life.
Before I was a believer, living life, I guess I lived the version of life that society had taught, that you get from non-believers, that I didn't have any direction. There was no I didn't have anything to lean on and said, this is how life is best played out or lived out, or this is the model that you could use in life, and it can be very much more full of joy. I didn't know it. I was chasing joy. I was just trying to chase being okay, and it was a daily thing. It was from just trying to be somebody I really wasn't, trying to have an outward appearance that I wasn't. I pushed career really hard. I got a lot of my own self-worth out of that. And as I realized over the years, my relationships were suffering a lot, and I wanted so much to have a close relationship, and it was through that God kind of kicked my butt a little bit, and it was good.
In 2008, I got baptized here at New Life. Although I was baptized as a baby by sprinkling, I needed to research and to see the importance of making that decision and letting it know that it was my decision to live life for Christ.
About a year and a half after coming to New Life, I decided I wanted to surrender my life to Jesus. And even though I'd been baptized as an infant, I wanted to do it under my terms.
I went to class on baptism. I wanted to understand more about it. It's something I felt like I should do. I kept hearing about it. I wanted to understand more, taking that step and really committing to Christ, like openly professing that. And I mentioned it to a good friend of mine who was my college roommate, and he immediately said, well, when are you getting baptized? And I thought, I don't know, it's going to be any weekend. And he really helped me see the large-scale commitment, the big picture. Like, he wanted to be here for that. So I asked him to baptize me, and it was a great event in my life. He has been one of those Christians that's been in my life that walked beside me and didn't play referee. He didn't tell me what I should do and shouldn't do. He just loved me like a brother, and man, I couldn't think of a better person to baptize me in.